So we have the data and we have put it to an alert and we have put it to the console. But now we'll try to put it to what's called an array. And we created the array at the very start. Putting the details in an array will allow us to store it temporarily in the same way as writing to the console just temporarily wrote it to a console while the application was running. So with the array, we said we would push the data to the array. So our array was called all user record array. And then we used the .push method to push the variable, in this case, vehicle registration number, to the array. So that goes into the first position, which is called position 0. We then do another push with the age of vehicle, and that goes into position 1. Then we do another one with registered date, and that goes into position 2, etc. So the .push method of the array in JavaScript pushes the variables or the content to the next position in the array. So we start at 0 and we work our way and add them one by one. To display what's in the array, we will now use an iteration and we will use the for. And in this case, we're saying for whatever the variable is of type const in the array called all user record array, we want to print out whatever the element is. So for const element in array, that could be any name, A, B, C, whatever we want, of all user record array. So that is the name of the array. So for each element, basically, we're saying we want the console.log the element. So it iterates through that array, and we don't need to know how many items are in the array. The for of iteration will work that out for us. So whenever we would put all of that code in and call that method, it would then display the details that it has pushed into the array. Obviously, to be able to use that function or method, we need to call it. So we will call it from within one of the other functions. So amend the JavaScript code to call the add values to array function from within the check form data function. So we will now add the code to our JavaScript, and we will add it below the last function. So this is a separate function on its own. Add values to array, and we push each item to the array, and then we iterate the array so that we can display all of the details. Then the next thing that we said we wanted to do was we wanted to add the values to array call. So we have to call the method, and we said we were going to call it from within the check form data function. So going back to your code, check form data. This is it here, which we just created. And what we want to do is, after it has done its work, we want to then call the method which adds the values to the array. If we look in our browser and add in our values as before, we will see our console, we will see our alert, but we will also in the console see now that we have iterated the array and put the values out. So let's go back to our browser and do a refresh and add in our values. We know that all the validation was working, so we just need to put the values back in. And once we have all the values back in, so once we have all the values back into the form, we validate the form. We get our pop-up, our alert, we click OK. We then look in the console. Again, in my case, that is function and F12. And I can see in here in the console that I have the iteration of the array. So I can see that the first value is ABC space 1, 2, 3, 4. Next value is 5, etc. They have gone into the array and are iterated out. And that is our console data up here. So all looks great that we have got our information. So we can see from the diagram we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions. 8 values have gone into the array. Arrays, we said earlier on, are 0 index.